Hi everyone, welcome to Beyond the Evidence. This is the channel where justice matters. My name is Marv. I am a true crime fanatic, and I love to dig deeper into the mysteries of unsolved cases. Join me as we search for missing persons, uncover the clues in unsolved murders, follow along with jury trials, and we'll be a voice for the voiceless. I'll share with you the facts, the theories, the clues, the evidence, and the controversies that surround these cases. This is Beyond the Evidence. Hello, hello. How is everyone tonight? Welcome to Beyond the Evidence. Tonight we are talking about the Savannha Soto and Matthew Guerra crime. I gotta be so careful as to what words I say on here now. It's amazing. Okay, so right before Christmas, we heard about this story. It was awful. Absolutely awful. So we're going to go through this tonight. I have some pictures, I have some videos, I have articles that I want to share with you on this. We are hoping that police are getting closer to an arrest. They're confident that there will be an arrest. So we're just waiting for that to happen. Hey, Andrea, how you doing? Hello, Jean. I am having a good evening. Thank you. Lynn, how are you? True Crime Fangirl, Happy New Year. Thank you so much. So we're going to go through, we're going to start with a timeline of what was going on, what was happening. As we all know, Savannha was 9 months pregnant. Friday, December 22nd, she was last seen around 2 p.m. with her boyfriend, Matthew, at an apartment complex where they lived. They were reported to be in a gray 2013 Kia Optima. And this car was reported to be Matthew's car. So, as I said, Savannha was pregnant. She planned on naming the baby Fabian. And what happened is she was going to be induced. She was about a week overdue. So on the 23rd, she was supposed to go to the hospital and get induced to have Fabian. Well, family tried to get a hold of her that day. They couldn't reach her. She was supposed to report to the hospital at 6:30 a.m. on the 23rd, which was Saturday. When she didn't report and show up for her scheduled inducing, her family waited a couple hours, and then I believe her mother posted a Facebook message asking if anybody had seen Savannha and asked them to reach out to her if they had seen her. Well, nobody saw her, so they contacted police. And Saturday, Monday, December 23rd through the 25th, family members were out, instead of celebrating Christmas, they were out searching for Savannha and Matthew. They created missing posters, tried to get the word out everywhere that their daughter was missing, their son was missing. So on Monday, December 25th, police finally issued what is called a coordinated law enforcement adult rescue alert for Savannha. So that's got to be their way of, I think we have it as we have silver alerts and all kinds of alerts. So that's their type of alert for a missing person. And because she was pregnant, she reached all the criteria to issue this alert. Tuesday, December 26th. The family's still out searching. Shortly after 4 p.m., 2 people were found unalived in the Kia in an apartment complex about 3 miles from where the couple were last seen. Now, these are the facts that we know. They were pretty sure that it was Savannha and Matthew at that time, even though they didn't have, they didn't positively identify them yet. Police said that they thought the bodies had been in the car for 3 or 4 days. That is crazy to me because of where the car was found. This is an apartment complex. People are driving in and out. This car was not parked in a parking spot, as you'll see later in the videos. So why didn't somebody stop sooner? Why do they think they were there for 3 or 4 days in this car? And you can't tell me that nobody driving in and out of the apartment complex didn't think that this was odd, that this car was parked unusually. Hey, Jinx, how are you? So Wednesday, December 27th, the San Antonio Police Department described the case as a capital murder. Shouldn't have said that word, but oh well. And listed 3 victims. 18-year-old Savannha Soto, her unborn child, and 22-year-old Hispanic man. In a tense statement released Wednesday morning, SAPD says the man and woman found in the car both suffered gunshot wounds. The medical examiner's office is going to conduct a death investigation to determine the cause of death and confirmation of the victims' identities. The investigation remains ongoing. The statement said police offer no details as to a motive for the unalivings or possible suspects. So the police were keeping quiet. They gave us what happened, how they were unalived. Other than that, they didn't say a whole lot. Wednesday night, December 27th, police did give an update stating that the medical examiner had positively identified the 22-year-old as Matthew Guerra, and that they were still waiting positive identification on the female. Also on Wednesday, Matthew's family takes to social media to denounce rumors that they were involved in the couple's disappearance and unaliving. Soto's family has said that Matthew had a history of abusing Soto. Earlier in the year, Matthew pleaded guilty to a charge of domestic violence causing bodily injury in connection with an assault on Soto on Christmas Day, 2022. He was on probation at the time of their unalivings. So think about it. 1 year before, there was a DV incident, and he was arrested and charged. Now, as we get into this story, it's obvious if you've been following this story, these two families do not get along. They communicate with one another via social media, Facebook posts, things like that. It's really sad. It is really sad. There is no love lost between the two of them. It's sad in a way because both families lost a member of their own family. You would think that would bring people together. In this situation, because of the past DV experiences that Savannha had with Matthew, there is no love lost between those two families. And it's understandable. Absolutely understandable. Thursday, December 28th. The Bexar County Medical Examiner confirmed that Savannha Soto was the 18-year-old woman in the car, and that her and Matthew were unalived by gunshots to the head. And they said it was a contact gunshot wound, indicating that the muzzle of the firearm was held directly against their heads. So this was basically an execution. They asked for the public's help in identifying two persons of interest seen on security video at the Cleanest at Medical Apartments where the bodies were discovered. I'll be showing this video. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen it. You see two vehicles coming from opposite directions, meeting up. One person gets out of the truck, does something by the car. The car driver's door is open. You see a figure pop up and then go back in the car. But before that, which I didn't notice until somebody pointed out, the guy that got out of the truck goes back to the truck and somebody hands him a towel, a rag, something like that. Hey, Grace, thanks for joining us. So police are urging the community that if they have any information on the vehicle or the individuals that are seen in the video, to please tip it in. Now, police did say that this happened a couple of days before the Kia was found. So if we go back to the timeline, on Tuesday, December 26th is the day the car was found. So a couple days before that is Christmas Day, the 24th. Or is it Christmas Eve? Christmas Eve, maybe. So it does say here in the timeline that investigators do believe the two were unalived elsewhere, and the car was brought to the apartment complex to be abandoned. Also on Friday, December 28th, the manner of death was released as homicide. They did rule out the possibility of unaliving and then themselves, or one, you know what I mean, the S word. So they had ruled that out by the 28th because there was a lot of people saying, well, it could be that. So that is the timeline that we have. I think everybody was hopeful when this story broke that Savannha would be found alive and that she would be able to go and deliver her baby and have a great Christmas. That didn't happen. And I feel awful for both families. Just looking here. On what else I have. Okay, so I'm going to show my screen here. So this is the first picture I have. From what I understand, and anybody in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong, this couple has been going out since their teenage years. They've been together quite a while. And it's been an on and off type relationship, especially with the DV that has gone on. Some people are saying that because Savannha was pregnant, she was trying to make good choices, but she felt that she needed to keep him in her life because of the baby. I don't know if that's true or not, but something obviously kept the two of them together. I've got a lot of stuff here, you guys, so you're just going to have to hang on a minute because, okay. So this is the next video that we're going to take a look at. This is News Force San Antonio. And this is when they were found. So let's take a look at this video here. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to represent because I'm pretty sure I did not click with audio. There we go. And I want you guys to be able to hear this. This one is about 2 minutes, a little over 2 minutes. Oh, so it was 2 seconds. So basically, this shows the apartment complex. You see all the police vehicles around here. And this is at the apartment complex. And it's got the fence back here with houses and buildings. So you can't tell me somebody didn't hear something that night. Yeah, I think the baby was pulling them together also. All right, what do I have next? Okay. So this is a news report on them looking for her. We'll take a look at that now.
We have sad news from Texas this morning. Police in San Antonio say they believe a missing pregnant teenager.
Why aren't you playing?
And her boyfriend have been found dead. 18-year-old.
All right.
Savannha Soto was last heard from on Friday. Look
at that picture of her. She's so proud of her belly bump. I do not know why this one keeps pausing and buffering. All right, let me see here. Nope, this one's not going to cooperate. So we'll look at another one. Here we go.
Are you still using Prime? Because at this point, it's the
last hour, San Antonio police looking for 2 persons of interest that may be connected to the deaths of 18-year-old Savannha Soto and 22-year-old Matthew Guerra. This is video posted.
What in the world is going on?
Posted by SAPD that shows 1 person of interest.
I bet you I got too many videos up, and that's why it will not play.
He's seen driving a dark-colored pickup truck, the other driving a silver Kia Optima believed to belong to the victims. Today, SAPD confirming that Guerra was one of the bodies found in that silver Kia. He died from a gunshot wound. In that press conference just about an hour ago, Chief of Police William McManus answered questions about the possibility of a murder-suicide.
That possibility exists, but right now we don't believe so unless we get information from the ME that would change our current course.
While the second victim has yet to be officially identified, it is believed to be Soto and her unborn child. Police continue to investigate this as a capital murder case.
All right. Now, I just wanted to show you this one. There's different views of this. And this is a TikTok video. There's no sound, but it just shows the truck and the car, them pulling up. The first person's getting out of the car. The driver's door opens. They're talking and doing something at the car. He goes back, gets the towel. He's wiping down the car. And then you see the other person pop up and go back in. And then they both leave. Now, they didn't go that far. They did not go that far at all, because if you go back and you look at Zav Girl's live stream from a few days ago, she maps it out. And basically, the car goes down the straight path, has to curve to the left, and then parks. So it's not that far away. That's funny. How am I supposed to watch you and Zav talk about the same thing at the same time? Get two screens going, buddy. That's all I got to tell you. So this is interesting, because for the Soto family, this is not their first loss at all. The brother of Savannha was unalived the year before. So this family, this mother, has lost both of her children in a year. And it's absolutely crazy. And apparently, there was some sort of fight in a courtroom regarding this. And I believe this is, let's see here. Not sure. We're going to have to watch this video together. Let me put the volume on. Now, I'm not sure if this is the fight that everyone is talking about that happened in the courtroom. And this is frustrating me that these videos will not play. I've looked and looked at people in the galley, and it's so blurry you can't tell who's who. So I don't know if this is the actual fight or not. So you can see a bunch of people here, and they're fighting. There's people trying to pull people off of each other and everything else. It's the most bizarre thing. Well, if you watch those shows like I do, we're going to come back to this video because I think it's important. But if you watch those shows like I do, you'll see that this actually happens a lot in courtrooms, where families and opposing sides get in a heated argument and get in fights in the courtroom. And supposedly this did happen after this. So it says 7 months after a Texas family attacked the suspected unaliver of a 15-year-old Ethan Soto. So can you imagine? Oh my goodness. Hang on a minute. Am I buffering or frozen? Because on my screen it's showing that. So I'm just wondering. So just imagine you have 2 children under the age of 18 and under, that you've lost in less than a year, in about a year. It's absolutely crazy and mind-blowing. In another video, and I hope it's going to work.
Mother-to-be Savannha Soto. Savannha and her boyfriend were both found dead late Tuesday afternoon. Tonight, the medical examiner's office confirming one of the bodies belonging to 22-year-old Matthew Guerra.
So basically, this one is stating that a gun and a cell phone was not found in the car with the victims.
We did reach out to SAPD today for new updates on this.
Okay. We're going to come back to these videos. And I'm going to shut down as many screens as I can here. I'm going to show you what I can here. And I have to thank Grace, who's in the chat, and Andrea. They both provided me a lot of documentation on this case. So I really appreciate their help. So this one says, police release video of possible persons of interest involved. They have the video here of the cars meeting, stating that they were found in the Kia, that they had not heard from Savannha since December 22nd, which was the day before she was supposed to be induced. So we got all that information. Her mother believed that her daughter was in trouble, stating there's no reason why she would just get up and go off and do that. Cordova said Soto would especially not do this to her in light of the unaliving of her brother, 15-year-old Ethan Soto, in 2022. He was gunned down and killed and unalived after leaving his house to meet someone down the street when an argument ensued on May 16, 2022. 2 teenagers were detained by police shortly after. Early this year in October, justice was in the works for the shooting. During a court hearing of suspect Victor Nathaniel Rivas, during the courtroom hearing, Rivas had gestured towards the family, and deputies were forced to break up a brawl that involved Soto's family members and Rivas. So that is the one video that we're going to try to watch and see what happens. So this teenager was making gestures to the Soto family, and some of the men in the family decided to attack him, basically. And law enforcement had to split them up. It says 2 men and 2 juveniles were charged with assault and for disrupting court proceedings. It also says Matthew has had a criminal past behind him. Back on Christmas Day of 2022, like I said, he was on probation for assaulting Soto. Their probation was scheduled to end in June of next year. So he only had 6 more months of probation left. But he picked up new charges that appeared to be unrelated to the assault, including unlawful carry of a weapon, evading arrest in a vehicle, and reckless driving. Due to this, his probation was extended until February of 2025. He was issued the probation order back in June of 2023 and was allowed to see Soto as long as he was not harmful or injurious. Now, 6 months later, Guerra and Soto are both deceased. The San Antonio Police Department did not indicate that Guerra was involved in his girlfriend's unaliving. And police did say that the scene was quite perplexing. So they're looking at this as a possible unaliving, but we don't know for sure yet. Says the vehicle was found parked around 4 p.m. Tuesday afternoon. We were supposed to celebrate Christmas with Savannah and the baby. All she wanted was that baby. She didn't think about anything else. She was so ready to be a mom. And that came from her sister-in-law. Now, it's reported that the sister-in-law made it to the car after being tipped off, and was able to open the car door as police made it to the scene. She saw blood, and she didn't want to believe that Savannah was gone. Now, I got to tell you, it was very, very frustrating in the beginning of this case because we were getting conflicting information about what was in the car. We heard originally that she was in the back, Matthew was in the front, they were tied. Then later on, there was claims of torture. And we still do not know for a fact if any of that was true, because police have not come out and said anything about that. So as of right now, these are just different things going around the internet. And we got to wait and see what they release. All right. And as I said, this is a capital murder case. So whoever is arrested is going to be charged with that charge for sure. Let's see here. In this article here by News 4 SA, they stated clearly it was a heinous act. It was unspeakable, the tragedy of it. Once again, they're talking about the surveillance video, or the video that they have. They're trying to get tips. It says that the surveillance video already showed that the investigators believed what happened after the young couple was unalived elsewhere. They believed that Savannha and Matthew were already gone when the video was taken. They think the two people seen in the footage wiped the car down to get rid of fingerprints before ditching it, and that Savannha and Matthew were still inside, which to me is very plausible because they were found a couple days later in the car. I don't think it's feasible for them to take them out bring them back in, take them out, bring them back in. I think they were there that whole time. And that's just disgusting to me. You know, that they let them sit in that car for that long, unalived. Says that detectives are also combing through social media and cell phone records to determine the last communication with the victims. Under Texas law that qualifies, an unborn child during any period of gestation is a person under the Texas Penal Code for consideration, whether or not to calculate for more than one person. So this is why they are going to be charged with 3 lives, not just 2. Not all states are like that. Some states, the baby has to be born in order for it to be considered a person, but not in Texas. All right, what am I looking at here? All right, this is a TikTok, and it says Savannha Soto car before going missing. It's hard to see who this person is by the car, but you can clearly see it's parked in the parking spot the right way. This is 20 seconds. So let's see if this one will play. Nope. All right, let's close out some more stuff here. Let's go to some snips we found. Now, according to this snip, Matthew has an update 12/20/23 intake DA number 241111028 has 7 charges stemming from 2021, 2022, and 2023. Unlawful carry of a weapon, a handgun, assault, bodily injury, married, violation bond protective order, reckless driving, unlawful carry, and evading arrest. And then it goes on to say the intake division of the district attorney's office investigates and reviews felony and misdemeanor cases where the suspect is not in jail and remains at large. So I don't think that really had anything to do with it, but the division is comprised of felony and misdemeanor prosecutors, investigators, a victim's advocate, and support staff who work on all types of cases, unaliving and violent crimes against persons, property crime cases, environmental crimes, and drug trafficking cases. Something that's been going around is this picture here. So JLR posted, I was at Savannha Soto's vigil today in San Antonio, Texas. Some dude showed up that looks similar to the person of interest police are looking for. What do you think? So they're comparing this individual to the man that got out of the truck. There's some resemblances, but as we all know, in the Delphi case, That photo is blurry. So we cannot confidently say that this is the individual. Does he look like him? Have similarities? Absolutely. Should he be tipped in? Absolutely. So this case is kind of has similarities with Delphi, as people are doing side-by-sides of photos, trying to find who this individual is. Now, as we can see, this is a heavy individual. Their front end is very large and sags way down. And we were looking at different pictures the other night while I was on Zav Girls live stream, and couldn't tell if the hair was in a braid or a ponytail. We were trying to zoom in, but as you all know, things get pixelated and it's already blurry. And no matter what picture we used, because there's better pictures than this, we couldn't really tell. Some people thought this was a man. Some people thought this was a woman. Some people thought that the individual that pops up out of the car is a woman. I can actually say I thought there was a good chance that it might be, because of the shape and the build of the person. But we have no idea for sure. That's the frustrating part about it. So I hope somebody from one of the departments can get a better picture and enhance it for police. Another thing that is going around the internet is a video. Now, supposedly this was after this all took place and they were found. These two gentlemen come up the stairs and they're talking with the other one. Now, this individual in white is circled because a lot of people say that this individual looks like the person that popped up out of the Kia and then went back inside. But then on the other hand, you have people stating that this individual, the individual that was sitting on the stairs in the original video, he's the person that was popped up out of the car and went back down. It's so frustrating. Jinx, I'm leaning toward the person in the white shirt is a male. Yes, I am too. Absolutely. What is everybody else's thoughts on the person in the white shirt coming out of the truck? Male, female? Any suggestions, thoughts on that? Could this be a husband-wife duo or boyfriend-girlfriend duo? Man in the truck, female in the car? It's possible. You think male too? This one here is just a better picture of the guy in the green and black. Now, I'm going to zoom in here. We did this the other night, and it was so hard to tell. It's either a gun that he's putting in his pocket or a cell phone. We couldn't tell. Hang on, I'm moving some stuff for my son. We couldn't tell at all. Honeybee says it's hard to tell, but it looks like a Oh, maybe. But it's so blurry. Like you said, it's so hard to tell. So, let's see, does it look like the guy in the truck is wearing a safety vest like highway workers wear? I don't know. I mean, it's possible, but that picture is so distorted and blurry. It's hard to tell anything from, except for, I mean, to me, you can tell that he's more Hispanic or in nature and not white or black. I guess he could be. But in that area and with the others that we've been seeing, I thought more Hispanic. I initially thought it was a cell phone. He puts it in his little pouch here on his sweatshirt. You know where you've got your little pouch. I call it a pouch where your hands go, and I put like my keys, my cell phone, and everything in there. I'll try. I'm trying to close down as many tabs as I can right now so that the videos will play. See, and in this position, I thought it was a cell phone too, but as people started looking at it more and we started zooming in and stuff, people are like, no, it looks like he's got a gun. And I said, I'm not sure. So it could be a gun, could be cell phone. We're not really sure. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a gun in this area. I'm just saying. All right, so then I had this picture. To me, it looks like, but why would anyone hold your belly? Appears that way to me. Yeah, good point. See, and that's what I thought too, because with the front of his pants, I thought maybe that was the gun, but I'm not sure. To me, this looks like a men's tank top. Because you can see that this is skin here. You know, the arms are exposed. Yeah, could be. So it's definitely a very large person that they're looking for. Yeah, could have a beard. It's really hard to tell. It definitely is. We were discussing that too. You know, is that just a reflection? Is it because he's got his chin tucked down a little bit? Is it a beard? Oh, yeah, see, I thought it was all part of the shirt. The little pockets in your sweatshirt, hoodies. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is a fanny pack. Yes, Grace. That's what I noticed too. He does have short arms, and it's almost like he has no neck. So does that mean there's some issues and the vertebrae in his neck are messed up, or is it because he just happens to be looking down that we don't that we don't see it, or I don't know, but his body to me is very unproportioned to his head, and it's got to be an obvious giveaway if somebody were to see him. Obvious. I mean, they can take that video, they can look at the way he walks. You can see his legs in the beginning. You can see the way his movements are. Could have to do with the weight. His weight could have something to do with it, absolutely. I mean, but I've seen heavier people and they still have a neck. So I'm leaning more towards either he was trying to conceal his face, kind of. I don't know if he knew the camera was there or not. It's so hard to tell. So hard to tell. Okay. I know what I'm going to do here. Just bear with me for a minute. I have got to get some of these videos off my screen because I'm pretty sure that is why none of them are playing. So I'm going to put them in my watch list and close them. So that we can get some of these to play. All right. Let's see if that'll work. We're going to mute that. My internet just does not want to cooperate tonight. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link. I'll put it in the description. After this is over, I will revise the description and I will put all of these videos, a link for them in the description because I want you guys to see them. It's very, very frustrating. I'm obviously having some issues with Wi-Fi and bandwidth tonight. Try playing it off of Messenger. Ooh, I got one that'll work so far. Let's see. This is the press conference that they had regarding this case.
But I'm not going to answer questions that may get into the details.
Oh, come on.
Of the investigation. So first of all, I want to extend condolences to the families of both Savannha and Matthew. I also want to reassure them that detectives are doing everything that they can do to solve this case. Savannha Soto and 22-year-old Matthew Guerra were reported missing by Leon Valley on 12/23/23, a clear alert was issued for Savannah by DPS because it met the criteria for a clear alert to be issued. CLEAR stands for the state's Coordinated Law Enforcement Adult Rescue Alert Program. Families of both victims reached out to SAPD on the 23rd to make a police report, but we had learned that Leon Valley had already taken a missing person report. Savannha and Matthew resided in Leon Valley's jurisdiction, and were last seen in Leon Valley. Therefore, Leon Valley was the reporting jurisdiction. Officers did document details provided by the family members under an SAPD information report. On the 26th at about 4 o'clock, SAPD was called to assist Leon Valley PD at 5903 Danny K. Leon Valley was requesting assistance. Families of both victims were at the location and reported Leon Valley PD that earlier in the day, they received information that the missing gray Kia Optima was at the Danny K address. When police arrived, they discovered 2 people in the Kia. EMS was called to the scene, and they pronounced both victims at the scene. It appeared that the vehicle had been located at that location for several days. The medical examiner had identified 22-year-old Matthew as one of the deceased victims in the vehicle, and he died from a gunshot wound to the head. The manner of that death is still pending. The second deceased victim has not yet been officially identified by the medical examiner. However, I think we can be confident that that second victim was Savannah. This case is being investigated as a capital murder case. Detectives right now are combing through days of surveillance video from several different locations that the victims were known to be, where the victims were known to be. Detectives are hopeful that surveillance video will lead to the events leading up to their death. Detectives are also combing through social media and cell phone records to determine the last communications with the victims. We have a video here that we're going to share with you. We have already put it out on social media. You may have already seen it, but we're going to run this video here today. We are hoping that someone is able to identify the individuals that are seen in this video. If anyone has any information regarding what they may see in this video, I would ask that you call homicide on 207-7635. You can remain anonymous. You do not have to give your name. The video was taken from a nearby location where the bodies were located. And finally, here is a slowed down image of the first person of interest getting out of the Chevy Silverado that is seen next to the Kia. And then here's another, there'll be another slowed down image of the second person of interest getting out of the victim's Kia Optima. Once you've looked at the video, I will take a few questions. Again, only to clarify what I've said if you're not quite sure about it, but I will not take questions other than what I've just talked about because the investigation is still active.
Chief, you said the ME said that for Matthew Guerra, it was a gunshot wound to the head, but when we called them, they said it's a contact gunshot wound. What does that mean? It
means that it was there. When we talk about the manner of death has not been determined, the manner meaning, was it a suicide or was it a murder? So that's what the ME has yet to officially put out.
So there's a possibility that this could be a murder-suicide.
That possibility exists, but right now we don't believe so unless we get information from the ME that would change our current course.
You don't believe so, and I wonder the callousness of all this. What is your message to the person or persons who may have committed this?
You know, somebody asked me that the other night, and I don't know what value that adds to this interview, what message I would put out. I mean, clearly, it was a heinous act. It was unspeakable, the tragedy of it. What message would I give to those folks? I don't see what the value of that question is, but anyway.
And just to clarify, you are treating this as a homicide for both people?
It is a capital murder investigation.
For both victims?
Yes, right now, unless we get information that changes that.
And Chief, when was this surveillance video? Is this one from the 26th?
Say it again?
Where and when was this surveillance video taken?
A few days before
Yeah.
the bodies were discovered.
And where was this? What's the address of this area?
Where what?
Near where the
What's that?
bodies were.
Is this where the bodies were discovered?
Very close to it, yes.
Very close to it.
I do see, I believe he is handing something to the driver of the pickup truck. Do we know anything about that?
That's what we're looking at. What we believe right now, it was something to wipe the side of the car down with. We can't be 100% certain of that, but that's what we're studying in this video, and that's what we believe right now.
And do we believe that these people may have any links of some sort? Do we know what links they have to victims?
I don't know that. And again, would be part of the investigation.
So just to be clear, the vehicle, the Kia Optima, that's the vehicle that they were found in.
Yes.
Okay. But the person that's getting out of the vehicle, you're saying out of the Kia Optima, is there somebody that gets out of that vehicle that you're trying to?
Yes.
And you don't believe it to be either Matthew or?
No.
Okay.
So do you all believe that they were shot, the killings happened somewhere else and they drove the car and dumped it in the parking lot?
Again, I don't want to get into the details other than what I've talked about here today. So the answer to that question would be yes. But other than that, again, I'm not going to answer questions that are outside of what I just talked about.
So in this video, do you think that they're dead or alive?
Pardon?
In this video, do you think they're dead or alive?
Again, I'm not going to get into that.
And then one other question, the day of the crime scene, you called it perplexing. Now you've learned a couple more details. Can you go into why you use that word?
Because it was unknown at the time. We had been there not very long at all. And it was undetermined at that time whether we were going to be looking at it as a murder-suicide or as a capital murder investigation. So I think we've kind of gotten past that point right now, unless we get evidence that would lead us to believe otherwise, but I think we're past that point right now.
You said the bodies have been there for several days. How many days exactly?
I don't know exactly, but they'd been there for a few days, I'll say.
So what took you so long to find the car if the car was parked there for several days?
What took us so long to find it?
Yes, if the car was parked over there for like several days.
Nobody came across that car.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Okay, so that video finally played. Let's see.
As we continue to follow yesterday's tragic end in the search for missing mother-to-be Savannha Soto. Savannha and her boyfriend were both found dead late Tuesday afternoon. Tonight, the medical examiner's office confirming one of the bodies belonging to 22-year-old Matthew Guerra. We did reach out to SAPD today for new updates on this case, and all they would tell us is that the investigation remains ongoing. So here's what we know right now as well. Savannha was last seen on Friday at her apartment complex off of Grissom Road in Leon Valley. She was reported missing on Saturday when she didn't show up to be induced at a local hospital. Savannha's family held a vigil on Christmas Day, pleading for police and the public to help find her. Then on Tuesday, Savannha's sister-in-law, Joni Wassel, received a tip on the location of the car Savannha was last seen in. When she arrived at that car's location, she found two bodies inside with gunshot wounds. Also telling us the bodies were that of Savannha and her 22-year-old boyfriend, Matthew. The medical examiner has yet to confirm her identity or the cause of death, but police have told us that the woman's unborn baby sadly also died. SAPD now investigating it as a capital murder case. The News 4 I-team has learned exclusive new details about this case that potentially help explain why police have been so vague about what type of investigation they have on their hands. The I-team's Mariah Medina has all these details for us tonight. Mariah?
That's right. Law enforcement sources tell me that San Antonio police didn't find a firearm or the cell phone of Savannha Soto's boyfriend, Matthew Guerra, in the car that the pair were found in Tuesday afternoon. Sources also sharing that Guerra's body was found in the back seat of the vehicle, while Soto was in the front passenger seat with a child carrier on her lap. I talked to Guerra's family, who tell me everything that they did to find the expectant parents and frustrations with that process.
Over 170 years ago, a grid.
But once it was like the 2:30 p.m. mark, we started panicking.
Panic and nonstop calling and racing home, racing over there, and
calling police.
Gabriel and Raquel Guerra say they called 911 when they sensed their son and his girlfriend were in trouble. The husband and wife, who live in Bexar County, initially tried to file missing persons reports with the Bexar County Sheriff's Office. Soto's family, who live in San Antonio, tried to file with San Antonio police. But because Guerra and Soto lived in Leon Valley, the report had to be taken by Leon Valley police.
I was told that they were trying to get the three agencies all the information they had and combine them into one report.
As this was happening, Gabriel says he was racing to his son's apartment, kicking down the door after he didn't get an answer, fearing the worst.
The candle.
The candle was on.
That was another sign that they had a candle on.
Gabriel says the lit candle and Savannah's diaper bag being left behind told them something was wrong. The house, he says, showing no signs of a struggle. Gabriel says he asked the Leon Valley police detective assigned to the case if they could track his son's cell phone location. He says a detective told him it was unlikely a judge would grant a warrant for that because there weren't exigent circumstances.
He basically said they're adults. If they want to disappear, they can disappear. And again, I reminded them, the baby's overdue. It's been overdue. They missed their due date, and to me, that's a life-threatening. There should have been more urgency.
We reached out to the Leon Valley detective assigned to the missing persons case to see if a warrant was ever sought. The detective replied that he was instructed by the Leon Valley chief of police to direct questions about the investigation to San Antonio police. He stated that he was not authorized to make any further comments.
I never knew a pain like this existed. You hear about a parent losing a child and you're like, man, I can't imagine what they're going through. It's exactly how it is. You can't imagine it.
The couple, expected to become first-time grandparents this holiday season, now mourning a son, a grandson, and their would-be grandson's mother.
I just hope we can get to the bottom of this and justice be served, because I just can't fathom how anybody could do that to a pregnant woman. I just can't get that out of my head.
While Soto's murder would be considered capital murder under Texas law because she was pregnant, San Antonio police shared a synopsis which lists Guerra, Soto, as well as her unborn son as victims, apparently signaling law enforcement's belief that both Guerra and Soto were murdered. For the News 4 I-Team, I'm Mariah Medina.
Tonight, the family of Savannha Soto is talking about their devastating loss. News 4 San Antonio's Amanda Henderson spoke with them a bit earlier today at a place that already represents the loss that they've experienced.
Kenwood Park holds so much meaning for the Soto family.
We cry, we laugh, think about the good time, the sad time.
Rachel Soto finds herself here today with us, thinking of and talking about another sad time. We sit at a bench dedicated to her 15-year-old grandson, Ethan Soto. He was killed last year. Now Rachel is here talking about the loss of his sister, her granddaughter, Savannha Soto.
I think I'm going to get up on my nightmare and Mika's going to beat him. I didn't think I was going to go through this again, and here I am again.
Savannha and her boyfriend, Matthew Guerra, were found dead yesterday in a Kia Optima at a Northwest apartment complex. The discovery brought a tragic end to a search for the missing mother-to-be, who was set to be induced last Saturday.
She was looking forward to being a mom for the first time.
Police say the unborn child died as well.
I just wish at least I would have been able to see him and hold him, but I'll never have that privilege of doing that. What much more do I need to lose?
One day after Savannha and Matthew's bodies were found, Rachel says they're left with questions, especially as they don't know if the mother-to-be had any connections to the apartment complex where the car was found.
But if there is somebody on the run, you have a conscience. Do the right thing and turn yourself in.
Rachel is working with Pamela Allen and Eagles Flight to put together a vigil for Savannah and her unborn child.
I've heard the cries of so many moms and grandmas, and it still shakes the soul to hear those cries.
Their cries, Rachel says, she is experiencing for a second time, finding strength through prayer and Ethan's tree, which will soon also honor more of the Soto family.
And I know eventually we'll be adding something else there. She had seven brothers, and she was the only girl. She was the only girl. She was everything. She was everything.
Reporting in San Antonio, I'm Amanda Henderson.
Matthew Guerra's family also grieving tonight, not only for his loss, but for Savannah and their unborn child. As News 4 San Antonio's Stephanie Esquivel explains, Matthew's father and stepmother don't believe he was capable of hurting them.
Those are Savannah's and Matthew's and baby Fabian's.
Presents under the Christmas tree, serving as a reminder of the tragic loss of a growing family.
We still can't believe we're just never going to meet him.
Matthew's father, Gabriel Guerra, says the young couple was anxiously awaiting their baby's arrival.
We had to remind him on the baby shower to let Savannah open some of the gifts. Matthew was opening all the gifts, so they were definitely both happy and excited.
On Saturday afternoon, when no one had heard from Savannah or Matthew, Gabriel kicked in their apartment door in hopes of finding clues.
That's when I saw Savannah's overnight bag that she had packed for the hospital that she didn't have with her, and that even threw me more into a panic.
Gabriel knows Matthew was arrested in 2022 for domestic abuse against Savannah and even suggested Matthew stay in custody longer.
They had contacted each other on the phone, and that was a violation, so they can please keep him in there. And unfortunately, it would have to be Savannah to say that, and she wouldn't do it, so eventually he was let out.
Domestic abuse charges were never filed again. Gabriel and his wife Raquel say the couple was inseparable and seemed happy. That's why they don't believe Matthew could have hurt Savannah, but they want to find who did.
It's got to be something personal. I mean, I don't know what kind of person could do that to a pregnant individual.
Stephanie Esquivel, News 4 San Antonio.
As we continue to follow yesterday.
So one of the things that I had talked about with creating this channel is getting the family's perspective. And I can't always talk to the families, but that video right there, that gave us a perspective of what these families are going through and how they're feeling. You heard his father talk, his mother talk, you heard her grandmother talk. You could see the pain in their eyes. You saw the videos of people holding each other and breaking down at the site. I mean, this is major trauma for these individuals that are still alive. And not having it just not be her, but for both families, it's not just her and it's not just him. It's this baby that they were all looking forward to meeting. And it was supposed to happen on the 23rd. So, these families go through absolute hell when something like this happens. And none of us, unless you've gone through it, can imagine what the heck they're going through. So what we did learn in there is that he was found in the back seat. She was found in the front passenger seat, and she had the baby carrier on her lap. So the big question is, why was he in the back seat? Was he moved to the back seat afterwards? That's something that we're going to have to wait and see, and really find out, because of the way that they were unalived. Now, reports are that they were both shot behind the right ear. So that would mean somebody, to me at least, making sense, that means somebody was in the back and they were both in the front. Grace says she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Maybe. You know, what was so important that they had to go out? You know, I mean, they were supposed to be at the hospital at 6:30 in the morning. So what happened between 2 p.m. and the time they left? Is there any video footage from their apartment complex that shows them leaving? That's what I want to know. That's nothing that we've seen yet. But if there is, I want to see what kind of demeanor they had when they got in the car. If it was just casual, if it seemed hurried, you know, or can they see expressions on their faces? You know, it's so many questions. Honeybee says, yep, sounds like he was moved. Was he beat up? Now, we don't know for sure. We've heard rumors that his pants were down. We've heard rumors that they were both tied up. But we do not, and we've heard rumors that they or he, I'm assuming he, was tortured. But we do not have any verification on that from police at this time. Just a rumor. He got arrested and was going to do prison time, but was offered to snitch to get off. Yes, that is a rumor also at this time. That's interesting. That is very, very interesting. Maybe. But at the same time, police are stating that they believe this happened at a different location than where that apartment complex. So where did it happen? Is the second biggest question I have. You know, besides, do they have video of their apartment complex and them getting in the car? Yeah, it might make sense. I never thought of that. All right, let me see here. So I have another, it's 12 minutes long. I'm going to play this one because it goes along with the theme of the new direction of the channel in showing what is happening, but how it affects the families too. So maybe someone drove the car so while he was in the back. Well, we know somebody drove the car while he was in the back, because you see it in the video. So that's why I'm wondering if, but then again, okay, so if they were both in the front seat and they were both shot behind the right ear. Then there's going to be some blood. We know that. How is that person going to get him into the back? There should be a blood trail somewhere where this happened. As they're moving him to the back, or whoever. And then that person that sat in that seat is also, there's a good chance that they're going to have some blood on them too. So is that what the towel was for? Was to try to wipe that away so that that did not get on the person driving? That's another question in my mind. All right, let's take a look at this video here. And see what it says.
Just days after being reported missing, and now police have two persons of interest. The family of 18-year-old Savannha Soto reported the teen missing when she never showed up to the hospital where she was set to be induced for labor. At the time, police confirmed the identity of Savannah's 22-year-old boyfriend, Matthew Guerra, who owned the Kia Optima that they were found dead inside.
We believe that it is the missing woman and her boyfriend, but we can't confirm that right now officially until the medical examiner takes a look at the bodies and makes that determination as to their identity.
The day after Christmas, in a press conference after the gruesome discovery, San Antonio Police Department Chief William McManus told local reporters the investigation is still in its preliminary stage. As family members of the victims can be heard crying, authorities said at the time their cause of death was still unclear.
But what we're looking at right now is a very, very perplexing crime scene. And detectives right now are looking at this as a possible murder. And but we don't know for sure.
But within days, police are sharing new information, including a devastating revelation.
It appeared that the vehicle had been located at that location for several days. The medical examiner had identified 22-year-old Matthew as one of the deceased victims in the vehicle, and he died from a gunshot wound to the head. The manner of that death is still pending. The second deceased victim has not yet been officially identified by the medical examiner. However, I think we can be confident that that second victim was Savannah.
San Antonio PD also released this surveillance video and are seeking information on two persons of interest. Police say the footage was taken from a nearby location where Savannah and Matthew's bodies were found. It captures a dark-colored pickup truck slowly pulling up to Matthew's silver Kia Optima. But what's more shocking, police say one of the persons of interest can be seen driving his car. About 15 seconds into the video, a person can be seen getting out of the pickup, walking to the door of the gray Kia to talk with the person in the driver's seat before going back into the pickup. Then both vehicles drive away. Police say right now it's unclear what link the two have to Savannah and Matthew, and say they couldn't provide more details pending the investigation. Earlier, when Savannah and Matthew's bodies were discovered in the gray Kia, police believe their bodies were in Matthew's car for about 3 or 4 days. And at the time, police said it was unclear if weapons were found inside the vehicle. But just days after the tragic discovery, according to reports from local NBC affiliate News for San Antonio, they claim their sources familiar with the investigation say police did not find a weapon or even a cell phone of Savannah's boyfriend Matthew in the vehicle where they were found. And more alarming, the local news station says Matthew's body was discovered in the back seat, while Savannah's body was discovered in the front passenger seat with a child carrier on her lap. While police confirm Matthew died from a contact gunshot wound, his manner of death is still undetermined.
When we talk about the manner of death has not been determined, the manner meaning, was it a suicide or was it a murder?
So here's what else we know so far. Savannah, who was 9 months pregnant, was last seen at her apartment on December 22nd in Leon Valley, a city about 10 miles away from downtown San Antonio. Her family grew worried when she didn't show up to her doctor's appointment and reported her missing. In a Facebook post, Savannah's concerned mother wrote, quote, "I'm worried about her safety. She's with her boyfriend who is no good. Prayer for my baby girl. Authorities issued a coordinated law enforcement adult rescue alert, known in Texas as a clear alert, to help police locate the pregnant teen. Photos of Savannah on social media show what appears to be a happy mother-to-be, beaming at what appears to be her baby shower. In this photo, Savannah and her boyfriend are shown opening presents with blue decorations that seemingly confirm they were expecting a baby boy, and it was later revealed by family they plan to name the baby Fabian. In another photo, Matthew cradles the belly of his pregnant girlfriend as the two appear excited for their next step. At this time, we don't know much about Savannah's boyfriend Matthew, but his father and stepmother told a local news station the couple was anxiously awaiting for the arrival of their baby. They say on Saturday, December 23rd, when no one heard from Savannah or Matthew, Matthew's father Gabriel kicked in their apartment door in hopes of finding more answers. Matthew's father told Fox San Antonio they discovered Savannah's overnight baby bag for the hospital that she didn't take with her, throwing him into immediate panic. In light of the young couple's body being discovered, it's been reported Matthew Guerra was on probation for assaulting Savannah last year on Christmas. The charge had Matthew on probation, which was scheduled to end in June 2024, but he picked up new charges unrelated to the assault that extended his probation through February 2025. Matthew's family told local news reporters they don't believe he's responsible for the heinous crime. But was it possible there was trouble in paradise between the two? According to forensic death investigator Joseph Scott Morgan, at this time, he doesn't believe we can jump to that conclusion.
So from the beginning, I thought that, like many people, you're kind of watching the news. I watch the news every day, and I thought that's that this is going to be a murder-suicide. And of course, it turned out that apparently it's.
Celebrities are boosting their metabolism in 20 seconds with an ancient olive oil trick and getting a gorgeous flat tummy. In the next 70 seconds, you'll discover how a Nobel Prize-winning NASA astronaut cracked the code on how to lose weight and keep it off. After studying the celebrity,
It's being looked at a bit more with a bit more magnification on the situation. So right now we're still trying to understand what the dynamics were at the scene.
With nearly 2 decades of experience as a forensic death investigator, Morgan has seen numerous crime scenes of all natures and explains, as police are exploring all avenues, there are some questions he would like to see answered.
That's the reason you have the chief saying this, that they're looking at all possibilities here, I think. Because you really have to, again, you're plumbing the depths here of just absolute depravity. You're talking about killing this young pregnant woman. Who would want to do this sort of thing? And if they cannot say definitively from a scientific perspective that this young man took the life of this young woman along with this baby, then you're going to be looking elsewhere. And that's where forensics comes in. I'm very fascinated about this case because working homicides involving motor vehicles are particularly challenging, but they can give you a lot of information. And let's just say, depending upon where the victims were positioned in the vehicle, are they in the back seat? Were they in the front seat? Were they seated side by side? Were they laying on top of one another? Is there glass blown into the cabin? Did these gunshots originate from the exterior of the car? Did they only pass through the windows? Were the windows down? Did they pass through, say, the car body itself, where you're going through the sidewalls of the car, through the doors and this sort of thing? Did they come from the rear or the front? Was the car stopped? What position was the gear lever in the car? So you have to consider all of this. And here is one really interesting piece to this. Everybody, particularly as it applies to my line of work in forensics, that looks at us and looks at what we do, the one thing that always comes to mind is DNA, right? So if you're in this very tight, confined space, and let's say that there was a perpetrator in that vehicle with them, is there any foreign DNA in that vehicle that you would not otherwise expect to find in there? Also, is this an individual, perhaps, if this was targeted, did they walk up to the vehicle and put their hand on the exterior of the car as they began to fire? That's something that we have to consider as well, because that's not just DNA. That could be a latent print. So they're going down all of these avenues in this particular case.
While Chief McManus said in an earlier press conference they believe the bodies were in Matthew's vehicle for 3 or 4 days, that answer still begs more questions.
Why would the individuals in this community not have stopped to check the car out? And again, this begs another question here when it comes to assessment of biological findings and decompositional findings, because he's talking about 3 days. Is he saying that the car was there for 3 days? Or is he saying that they were deceased in the car for 3 days? Because that's a big difference, because if you're saying deceased in the car for 3 days, that opens up the door that this may have taken place somewhere else and the car was essentially deposited there. As opposed to, you have eyewitnesses, which is going to be very important. All the residents around this area will be asked. This canvas will go on with the police department. They'll go door to door. They might say, hey, look, we've got this car out here. You've been going back and forth to work. It's Christmas time. Maybe you've been in the house a long time. Maybe you haven't journeyed out. Did you notice the car, one of your runs into town at some point in time? Or was it there at this particular time, but wasn't there then at this other time? And that's going to play a key role in this investigation.
But what about the possibility the two were tragically targeted? With police now seeking two persons of interest, that information could soon come to light.
Is this a road rage act, where just some random stranger begins to fire into this vehicle and they happen to come to rest on the side of the road, and the car is in park, and the keys are either in the ignition or within the vehicle or nowhere to be found? All of those little issues come into play here. Or is this something where they were specifically targeted, where maybe they were stopped on the side of the road and somebody had been following them? Maybe they got spooked. Or were they placed there? So all of that is going to come into place. The police are going to be able to narrow this down very quickly. Are they involved with any kind of nefarious actors here? People that might work in maybe a darker world. I don't know what their background is relative to drug involvement, violence, those sorts of things, but those threads are going to be pulled upon, and they're going to be explored in great detail.
The death of Savannha Soto isn't the first tragic death in her family. Savannah's 15-year-old brother, Ethan Soto, was shot and killed last year in 2022. Two teens were arrested for his murder shortly after. And in October, during a court hearing for one of the suspects, video captured inside the courtroom showed a massive brawl breakout between members of Savannah's family and the suspect's family. As Savannah's family faces yet another horrific tragedy, soon time will tell and reveal who was responsible.
Is there anyone out there that would have this much anger and this much hatred, that they would rain down this kind of hell on this couple, and not just couple? We're talking about this young woman who is very pregnant. As a matter of fact, I think she's like a week past due. Remember, they were talking about inducing labor for her. That in and of itself rises to another level that I think many of us cannot fully appreciate, because it is absolutely horrific.
Both families separately have posted GoFundMe pages to help with funeral expenses. At this time, police say the case is still in active investigation and are investigating the crime as a capital murder. SAPD is still seeking information on two persons of interest, and anyone who may have seen or heard even the slightest information about the people in their surveillance video is asked to call San Antonio PD or remain anonymous with Crime Stoppers. Reporting for Law.
Okay, so that actually had some, that guy asked a lot of the same questions that I have been asking. And unfortunately, we don't know the answers to some of those questions. We have heard rumors. So, for one, were there any bullets that penetrated the windows? I've heard one of the windows was shot out. Then I've heard no, all the windows were intact. So whoever said that, was that Ava had said that you didn't think they were shot in the car. That's going to tell the police right there. If there's no bullet holes in that car, that's going to tell them that they were not inside when this happened. Now, if they're both in the front seat and this is done behind the right ear of each individual, okay, it's fishy to me. It really is. Because if you're both in the front seat and this happens to one of you, the other one is not just going to sit there and stay still and allow you to do this again to the second individual. Do you understand what I'm saying? Did the car turn its lights off? No. No, I believe all of them were on, but we can watch the video again. Colin, he went to shut the door as someone tried to get out. Looked as if it's a girl. I will agree with you. And they get shoved back in the car. I thought that too. Like, what are you doing trying to get out? Get back in there. You know, that type of thing. Could it be a family member of the guy that maybe? I hope they're looking into that. Especially since we know a fight took place in the courtroom. He went to shut the door as someone tried to get out. Looked as, yep. They were placed there like, yes. Okay, so this is why I think it was staged. Why in the world would Savannah have the car seat on her lap? Why? It doesn't make sense. I can see them having the car seat in the back seat, all ready to go, because they knew the next day that she was going to get induced. Did someone take the car seat out so that they could sit in the back seat with Matthew? There's just things that aren't lining up. Like I said, the fact that they're rumored of both being, the gun contact was on behind the right ear for both of them, either tells me they were not together when it happened, or two people were involved and simultaneously did it. That's what my theories are. They threw it on her because it was in the way, because they put him in the back. Could be. Could be. And Grace says yes, too. She thinks that, too. We know for a fact 3 people are involved. We know that. You've got at least 2 people in the truck and 1 person driving the car. Yeah, but we haven't got any verification on that either. And that's kind of why I want to know if there was video camera or video footage of their parking lot in their apartment complex that they lived in. You know, that way we could see what was happening. Were they forced in the car? Did they just casually walk to the car? Did they hurriedly walk to the car and get in the car and take off? You know, that's all important information. Plus, you have the fact that the relatives are stating there was a candle lit. Why would you leave the house when there was a candle lit? You would at least blow that candle out. Ava, there you go. Makes me think they didn't leave willingly. True. CJK, you know 2 people are in the truck because of this. The big guy gets out of the truck and goes to the car. He comes back to the car and someone hands him a towel. So you know that there's two people in the truck. Same, but you know police won't come off that yet. No, they're not going to say anything on that. Especially if they have footage of at their apartment. Yes, and my biggest question in the beginning of this is, why didn't anybody at the apartment complex notify somebody that this car was parked oddly and had been there for a couple days? It doesn't make. Plus, you know, people were driving in and out. You're telling me nobody stopped and looked in that car and saw two bodies in the car? That's another thing that does not make sense to me at all. Yeah, that is odd, but she may have just left it if they were in a hurry. Because they hadn't noticed as this wasn't a scene. Yeah. It's just crazy. And yes, this was all over the town of San Antonio. Now, I'm assuming in this alert, this clear alert that they're talking about, they may have put the information of the car in there. I'm not sure. Yeah, I agree it was Christmas time, but if you see a car oddly parked in the parking lot like that, I'm going to go look. I'm definitely going to go take a look. And I can't believe that if that car was parked there for 2 days, that nobody went and looked in it. Now, I can see people going and looking in it and saying, I don't want any part of this, and never tipped it in. And that's a shame. You would think that that person would have. Now, there are reports the father of Matthew has said he kicked in the doors. There are rumors going around that he cleaned up the apartment before police could get there. And you're right, CJK, that is a rumor that is going around. Now, Savannah's mother had been there before that, and she said that Savannah's phone was there and whatever. So it's like I said, we're getting conflicting reports between the two families on all this. And this is how things in cases get strewn and go crazy, and all the theories and stuff come out there. And the fact that the two families are going against each other on social media does not help. It does not help the situation. It's hard to tell. They're going to have to go back and look to see if there is another video camera on that side where the car was parked to see exactly when and how long it's been there. Now, when I was on Zav Girls Live the other night, the gentleman from the Drunk Turkey show came on, and he said there's video cameras all over that area, not only in the apartment complex, but on the houses and everything around it, any businesses. So there should be a lot of video evidence in this case. It's just a matter that the police are not releasing anything else except for what they've released so far. And that is very well a theory that they have to look at. I'm hoping they're taking that into consideration. Everybody on the internet is speculating that it had to do with drugs from Matthew. And it could be. But it could also stem from the younger brother being unalived. And I'm sure they're looking into both scenarios. Doesn't make no difference to the situation. The fact a young girl, a young boy, and a baby, a young family was unalived. And it's absolutely heartbreaking and horrific for all three of them and for both families. And yes, our thoughts and prayers are with both families. Ava says there was a camera affixed to the overhang, but I don't know that it was working or just a Fox camera. Well, I'm sure police know. There's just things in this crime that don't add up to me. You know, and a lot of it is because we only have basic information right now from the police department. Now, the police have said they are confident that they will find the individual that did this. And I want to show you that video now since all my videos are working. This is
Most people have no clue that in 2023, the best.
I'm waiting for the ad to finish, and then I'll play it here for you.
And whatever you do, please be safe out there. It was a week ago today we first reported about a missing pregnant teen and her boyfriend. And now police are searching for whoever's responsible for killing Savannha Soto, her unborn baby, and Matthew Guerra.
KENS 5 reporter Megan Reyna spoke with a district attorney about what punishment could come with this capital murder case.
District Attorney Joe Gonzalez says this is a capital murder investigation because it involves multiple victims, including an unborn baby. That means a suspect or suspects could face life in prison without parole or the death penalty. He says it's just too soon to say if his office will seek the death penalty, but he believes police will make an arrest soon.
In the event that happens, certainly that is something that we would potentially consider.
Gonzalez says his office has a capital crimes committee that votes on whether to seek the death penalty in certain cases. Since Gonzalez has been in office, he's prosecuted more than 100 capital murder cases.
We've only made the election to seek death twice in my office during my administration, one of which we resolved before it went to trial.
The one that went to trial was a case of Otis McCain. He murdered San Antonio Police Detective Benjamin Marconi in 2016.
We have discussions about obviously how egregious a case is, what makes this a capital murder case. Other issues, for example, is whether or not this defendant is a continuing threat to society. Because
he says they also consider the family's wishes.
We're going to do, I've said this before, we're going to do everything possible to ensure that these individuals, when they're caught, and I'm confident that they will be caught and charged with capital murder, that we hold them accountable and that we do everything to bring justice to the memory of both Savannha Soto and Matthew Guerra.
Gonzalez is just urging anyone with information to reach out to SAPD. We have that number on our website, KENS5.com. Reporting in the newsroom, Megan Reyna, KENS 5.
So there you go. This would be a death penalty qualified case. And with all of, someone's got to be able to really enhance the back of that truck, especially when they're driving to that spot and away after they crisscross, there's got to be a license plate on that truck that they can see. You know, somebody's got to be able to enhance it and make out some of that license plate on that truck, if they, or follow it via the other cameras in the apartment complex. So I'm thinking that I should say I'm hoping that this will be solved shortly. And Colin, I agree with you. There is a very, very evil person out there. Persons, because anybody associated with this is evil. Whether they did it themselves or participated in what happened afterwards. To me, they're all guilty. So, sad situation. You know, to know that this beautiful young woman and her boyfriend, no matter what he was involved with in his past, you know, a life is a life, and these lives were taken by somebody else when they did not have the right to do that. And that's the saddest part of all this, and of each and every single one of the cases that we profile on this channel. It's the fact that somebody feels they have the right to be judge, jury, and take that life. And that's not the way it works. And right now, this world is in chaos. It's like there's a big fight between good, bad, good, evil. You know, we hear about it in the news every day. And not only is it with the people, but it's with the actual earth itself. Tornadoes, tsunamis, earthquakes, volcanoes, all this stuff is happening. And why is that? You know, why is it that today's world is so violent? Whether it be by natural causes or by somebody else's hand. My wish for this year of 2024 is for the people of this planet to come together. It's never going to happen fully. You know, you're always going to have your bad and your good, but I'm urging each and every single one of you to show empathy, to show compassion, to spread joy and love and support to your fellow American, or wherever country you're in, because I know we have others from other countries. You know, just try to bring a little joy into the world with so much evil and sickness and horrific things happening. That's all we can do. We can soldier on and show empathy, show support, show love, and hopefully that'll be a chain reaction and tip the balance. It's all I can hope for. Janet, yes, that is one of my two theories, is that it's either drug related because of Matthew's past, or I truly feel it's related to Savannah's younger brother being unalived the year before. God made my hair stand up there. As I said to my father, the world moves on a different level and weight. Yes, absolutely. Same for you, Colin. So I am closing out this show, spreading love and peace to all of you. It is my hope that all of us have a great new year, and that we can show some joy and some empathy and love in this world to others. It's not always easy. I can tell you that from experience. There are people that I look at and I say, do they deserve it? And I say to myself, who are you to judge them? You don't know what's going on in their life. Try to make a positive impact. That's what I tell myself. So I'm urging all of you to help me do that this year and to pass that on. Have a good night. Thank you for joining me, and I will keep you updated on this case. If anything happens, any arrests, I will make sure that I update all of you. You're welcome, Grace, and thank you for your research. I appreciate it, to you and Andrea both. I hope your holidays are well, and true, much love. You're an inspiration. Thank you so much, Colin. I appreciate it. You all have a good night, and say a prayer for these families. They need love and support right now. They're going through a very rough time. Good night. And remember, justice matters. I'll see you Thursday. Bye.